Hello, everyone. We are so excited at the Real Estate View. We are here in this wonderful afternoon. I am Mickey, joined by my co-hosts Kim and Lorraine. Hello, ladies.
Hello,
Hi,
hello.
Nikki. Hi, Kim. How are you?
Doing very well. How's everybody else doing?
Doing well
Good.
and being very excited.
Yes.
I know today is a pretty exciting day. We're super, super excited.
So,
Well,
should we
yeah,
introduce our guest?
Absolutely.
yeah.
Let's get to it.
All right. So, I have the honor of introducing our good friend now, Jessica Happel Luna, the owner of Social Soaring. Jessica has a very, very extensive study lines. She's originally from New Jersey, then attended college in Tennessee, where she had a double master in economics, and then after that, wanted to be a professor. Then went into the food industry, ended up being in marketing now, and she is a queen in marketing. She has
Yes.
done lot of studies into it. Just learning and going, but Jessica has this amazing energy. She's a mom of a delightful little girl, and we love her. So
We do.
Without further ado, here is Miss Jessica Happel Luna.
let's go.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Miki, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you, everybody, for having me here today.
Yes.
We're
We are
glad
so
to have
happy
you.
to have you here.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I'm super pumped to be here. So, I guess let's jump right in.
Yes. So full disclosure to everybody. Me, Lorraine, and Kim, we're super biased here. Uh, we love this lady here. She works as our marketing director in each one of our company. I have
Yeah.
been in business with you for what, Jessica, 2 years
2
now?
years.
Yes, 2 years.
Wow.
And Kim as
And
well.
yes, and
And
it's
Lorraine's been about 8.5, almost 9 months.
wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say like we just met each other and kind of we were in the dating phase for a little bit, but now we're married. I mean,
Yeah, for
full
sure.
forever
It's
thing
long
now.
term. You can't get rid of me.
And we're just an old couple.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
full story. The comfortable shoes, the sleepers, that's what we
Yeah.
are. We're not the high anymore.
No, I'm thankful for each one of you ladies and to have the opportunity to be able to represent your companies individually and see where we can go together. So I'm blessed to have you all in my life. So I'm thankful for you.
Likewise. So I will
Yeah.
start the first question, Jessica. So after studying so far, economics and all, why the jump into marketing? Like this is way different than all those. So how many years did you study?
Okay, so I went to the University of Tennessee and I studied economics for 5 years. Well, okay, I did nursing for 4 years. Thought my
See?
dad was going to kill me in my fifth year when I started working on a cardiac wing and it was very sad for me.
Mm.
And it's just not in my spirit, right? So I made the decision in my fifth year that I was going to switch my degree and change to economics. And I did, and I graduated in a year. And it was totally a different study, right? Nursing is everything's organic biochem and anatomy and physiology. And then you're switching over, and I had to take French. And I'm like, whew.
Wow.
So just very different. And then graduated from there. And during that time, I really wanted to be a college professor. So right before I graduated from the University of Tennessee, this is probably a big part of my story, to be honest. But on my 23rd birthday, and not to take anybody down a sad road, but I woke up and I had like a really softball size lump on my neck. So, and I wasn't really sure what that was. And for anybody that thinks that saving a buck is a good thing in the short run, it's probably not. So I did take myself to the hospital, but parking was $20. So I left.
Mhm.
I didn't want to pay $20 for parking. And then about 2 weeks later, I found out that I had Hodgkin's disease, which is a type of lymphomatic cancer.
Yes.
So there was like a little gap right there in my studies for about 6 months while I was seeking treatment. And originally I was trying to go to Vanderbilt and continued my studies there, but they had misdiagnosed me as having non-Hodgkin's. And I don't know if you guys know the difference, but there's a very big difference. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, there's only like a 15% survival rate. And, and then Hodgkin's, it's like 80. So it's very different. So I moved out here and then came to Vanderbilt and continued just getting better and taking my GRE and working through that. And then I started the graduate study program at Middle Tennessee State actually the next year. So there was about a 6-month gap while I just handled that. And then I got into Mid-State and I completed my degrees in finance and economics, and I did take 12 PhD level courses. But I was definitely getting myself into a lot of debt at that point. When you have 2 master's degrees, you're kind of like, well, let's start paying some of this off. So the whole time I had bartended my way through, and I had worked at Famous Dave's since high school. And then I moved, and when I went to the University of Tennessee, I worked at a Famous Dave's there. And then oddly enough, and I don't know if anyone here believes in God and things of that nature, but I definitely don't believe it was a mistake. The Famous Dave's that I had worked at in New Jersey, I got the job from my best friend, Ryan, and his uncle was the owner of the Famous Dave's here in Smyrna.
Really?
So when I had no hair and did not want to apply for a job in a new place and have to explain like, yo, I'm vomiting, I don't know if I'm always going to be able to come in, I got to say that to a friend, and like somebody that I knew. So it was definitely very helpful. And then I just continued and moved to Longhorn Steakhouse. And then they gave me the opportunity to manage there. So I did that for about 10 years. And then I had my daughter. And when you have a little baby, sometimes things just change everything in your world, right? And
oh yes.
For anybody that's worked in different industries, the restaurant industry in particular can be intense, right? So
for lack of better terms, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of demons, to be honest, in the restaurant industry. And it's very easy to go in at 3:00 and wait all day to go to work, and then you don't get off until 2, and then you stay up until 4 because you're not tired yet. And everything's just off in my life, at least. Like that was not the life for me with a baby, and like getting home at 2 and not being able to fall asleep. And then she gets up at 5. There was only so much that my little body could handle. So I was just very lucky and blessed to have a really great family. And my dad has been in marketing for many years. He owns Apple Printing Partnership. So he does a lot of direct mail marketing and works with the water treatment industry. But he gave me the opportunity to go to work for him part-time. So as I was learning that, I was also still managing at the restaurant until I could stand on my own 2 feet and prove that I had a place, right? So that's when I started doing like my wealthy affiliate training and the fortune builders training, and got brought in luckily also as Anchored Homes marketing manager, and got to work for them for about 2.5 years before starting my own company. So
it's such an incredible journey. Like, and I say like it's a journey because would you ever thought growing with your dad, him being in marketing, right? It would have been like this kind of thing saying like, oh, I'm doing the same thing as my dad. No, you went like a route.
It was almost like I wanted to do everything except what my dad did.
Right.
But it fits, and it's who we are, but I think sometimes you try so hard to almost like be your own independent person that you are really busy sticking a square peg into a round hole for a lot of years until suddenly it fits and it starts to feel different and it feels good and it doesn't feel like a job anymore. Like I remember, and I'm sure that a lot of people have day jobs that are Honestly, soul sucking is how I felt. Just going to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I wasn't going
Yeah.
to church anymore. I was drinking way too much. Just full disclosure of the life that you live
Put it
when
all out there.
it's high,
Yeah.
it's high pace, high volume. You know, you're doing 700 guests a night and working with a lot of young kids, and not to make excuses, but that's what everyone's doing there. And when you're surrounded with that, it's easy to fall into
It is, yeah.
what you're surrounding yourself around. So I really just needed a complete environmental change. And I mean, to be honest, everything about me changed. When I worked at the restaurant, I weighed 212 pounds.
Wow.
Wow. Like,
Wow.
if you are not watching on YouTube, we want you to know Jessica is super petite. She is a petite person.
But I mean, literally, my entire lifestyle changed when I found something that made me feel empowered and like I was making a difference. So I remember watching my dad in the beginning of this, you know, try to hire virtual assistants and maybe be watching him struggle to train them at 2, 3 in the morning. And I would be like, walk over and be like, Dad, well, what if you just did this, 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 and that? And then you're done. You could be done. And, you know, and I don't know, seeing that and then being able to put a smile on his face and he can go to bed instead of doing that for another 4 hours or however long he was going to spend doing, you know, banging his head against the wall. It makes me feel so good to be able to take that weight off of somebody else's shoulders.
So Jessica,
and
tell
just
us a little bit about how Social Soaring was born. How did you come up with the name Social Soaring?
So Social Soaring is a brainchild, I suppose, of JP and myself. So, when
and
I was
JP is your business partner, or
He
your
is.
business partner in Social Soaring.
So technically, Social Soaring, as crazy as this is, there's 2 companies. I own Social Soaring. JP and I together own what's called Simply Social.
Okay.
So all of our plans and packages, all of you guys are shared. Everybody's shared, to be honest. It started off as 2 different companies because JP's an amazing guy. And when we met, he was like, you're doing great things. Like, you're doing amazing things for me. Here's a friend. And here's a friend of a friend. And I started meeting people. And through meeting people, I started my own company. And then he was like, if you can do this again and again and again and step and repeat, then we can systemize this. And if we can do this once, then we can do it again and again. And let's make something that makes sense to people, is valuable to people, doesn't have them up all night trying to train a virtual assistant to pay them to train them. And really genuinely at the end of the month ends up costing less if it's 50 or 60 bucks a week than what you would be paying $100 a week or whatever it is for a VA to come in for 4 hours a day. So basically just trying to provide a better product, a higher quality product from people that already know what we're doing, and we train them for you so that you don't have to do that part.
So in 3 years, Jessica, I know, because I was in the phases remembering like when you hired your sister on board and like your husband, like it's like her whole family is coming on board. And then now the VAs also are there. So how big is Social Soaring now?
So currently we have 11 employees.
Wow.
Yeah. So pretty lucky. We have Miss Carol, who is in charge of all of our blogging. I know some of you guys have gotten the opportunity to meet Carol. Carol's a very special woman. If you have not ever gotten the opportunity to meet her yet, she's just such a positive, impactful person, but she's a great editor and does amazing things with her blogs. And then there's obviously JP and myself, Sarah Overmeyer, who's our success manager. And then we are content creators galore. So Devin Happel, as you already said, Daniel Broom, Brian Kirk. I feel like I'm missing some people. For sure I am. Jamie Dennis, Michelle Seagrote, Melissa Scott. So yes, we are growing. We are growing and getting there. So we definitely have goals. We don't want to overwhelm anybody so that they can always be as attentive to you as the day that they brought you on. What was your question, Lorraine?
Oh, no, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I guess one question that I had is maybe why do you think the business is growing so quickly? I mean, do you think it's because of the pandemic? Do you think the business landscapes have been changing and that's part of the reason why the business is growing? I mean, obviously, you know your business, you're great at what you do, but I'm just kind of just curious to hear what do you think the reason is for such the increase in business and being able to grow your company?
Well, I do think that that's there's definitely multi parts, right? So we provide a service that's a little bit different from a lot of other marketing companies. When you walk into a larger marketing company, you know that you're starting off at a minimum of probably $500 to $600 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't have to be the case. It depends on what it is that you want right now and what it is that's going to work for you at the moment. So I just like that we have a little bit more personal rapport and the ability to see every client that we have as an individual and try to speak through your voices instead of this larger conglomerate that potentially could make all of you guys sound exactly identical when you're not the same person. You're not the same company.
So I want to piggyback on that. And whoever is listening to us, please know that we are true, right? This is like, I'm revealing things here, Kim. So did it ever happen to you that things that are posted into your business page and then people commented and they comment back to you, they're like, that was so good what you said. It's so true what you said. And I'm thinking like, what did I say that was so good? Like I had to go back into my page. The reality is when you're a business owner like us, you don't have that time to post daily because this is just one of those things that the company has to do daily. And we can't produce content like Jessica is saying. And social sharing, what it does for us is that, yes, they use our voice. And for us, it means so much because, yes, we're not copycats of other people. We're still us, although we're stepping out into this role of posting or daily posting, but we're still us. So I'm really, really grateful that kind of my voice is still being, representing the company.
Yeah, because we talk a lot, in previous episodes about, growing your team and the business progressing and being able to then outsource to, to find companies that can represent your company in a good way. And we found that with social soaring. You guys know us. You talk to us. You get to know what we like and things that we want, our people who are following us on our Facebook pages, we want them to see, and you guys are able to do that for us.
Well, and that is I think the strongest difference is that we're human beings. Like I want to get, and every one of our team members wants to get to know every one of you. And we don't want to overwhelm anybody. I'm not going to give somebody 30 accounts if they can't get to know 30 people. It just doesn't make sense because then they're not doing your brand justice. So, and being there, you're going to change in a year, Kim. So if you don't talk to me for a year, then obviously there's a disconnect, right? But the Kim this year is probably not looking for the same things that you would be next year, right? So just having that continual relationship that we can ebb and flow and talk and adjust because times adjust. And then also, like Lorraine said, additionally, it is just that it's a very seasonal thing. So right now with COVID and with everybody being home, we're just technologically pushed. We got a big push when that happened for everybody to accept this new normal. And by doing that, I think everyone also saw the value very much so, because if you're not on Google, then where are you? No one's walking around. No one's going to see your billboard. They might get your direct mail now. They are at home, but they're probably not like, going to see an advertisement across a screen. Who listens to the radio? Not very many people, right? Everybody's got Siri or Alexa, and it's like, hey, Alexa, play whatever I want. I should be quiet before she.
I know before
terrible.
Kim is like watching her Alexa.
I know.
See, I mean, the way we advertise, the way we talk to people is different now. And
Yep.
in so much as nobody wants to be barked at and have advertising slammed down their throat either, because we are more, let's call it technologically connected. So I can't see you all in person as much as maybe I would like to, handshakes and hugs, but we are forced to now talk and see each other this way all the time, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
So through these just technological connections, and people expect that now, right? They want to see inside your
Right.
house. They want to see these things because that's what's normal. That's what's accepted. That is part of our life every day now, to be honest. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's what's become normal
mhm.
Yeah.
over the past year and a half.
I mean, I don't care. You can't go to a pumpkin patch right now without seeing people just doing it for the gram, right?
Yeah.
Like that is what they're doing. The whole
Right.
reason of the pumpkin patch is for the gram. They don't have kids.
Yeah.
They're not there for that. So it's just a different life that we're living in. And because of that, there has to be a more personal connection. People want more than to be told that your shampoo is great, right? They want physical proof that your shampoo is great. They want to see your product. They want to see, okay, so Kim is going to use lighter colors and Miki is going to be a little warmer. And, you know, Lorraine is going to focus on notes and what that can do for you and the power of that. So even just understanding that the three of you, although you may technically all be real estate investors, you do
Yeah.
very different things.
Yes.
Yes.
You are
Totally.
not the same.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So shifting gears just a little bit, I know you guys definitely, you know, post on different platforms. What platforms do you post on? You know, what's your favorite to post on? What platform to use?
So we pretty much will post anywhere right now, except we are not really doing Snapchat or TikTok. And that's just because we would if it fit our branding. So we do have two hair care companies that we have done Snapchat and TikTok for in the past because it makes sense for them because that's exactly who they're pitching to. Right now, we just aren't partnered with or representing anyone that would be in that demographic. So mainly Facebook, Instagram, definitely Google My Business. It's, you know, if you're on one, you should be on the other and almost just have it be an automatic push. And then I use Twitter, but it's minorly. And I would say that it's again for specific clients. So if you are hiring, I use Twitter. For my father as a printing company, I use Twitter for political signs and banners and flyers and flags. So it depends on who it is that you're trying to market to, which you're going to be on, right? So if you have a B2B type company, then I spend the majority of my personal time on LinkedIn trying to market for myself because I sell to other companies. For all three of you, I would say the best bang for your buck, except for maybe Lorraine, you might be more LinkedIn-ish. But these two are definitely like, they need to be Instagram queens.
Yes.
So it depends, you know, on what your target audience is for your brand and who it is that you're trying to reach, where you should be and where you should be allocating your time. Now, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't be, if you are somewhere, make sure you're posting to it cohesively. And at some point, you don't want to let your social media die. Nothing is worse than going to a page and seeing that you haven't posted since January of 2019. No one thinks you're open. You should take the page down.
I mean, because let's face it, you know, as soon as you meet somebody, you're going on the internet to find out who they are, whether it be you're Googling them, you're finding their Facebook, you go on their Facebook page and they haven't posted anything, like you said, since January. You're like, I don't know if I want to do business with this person because they are not very active on social media. You know,
and
like how serious can they be about their company? It's almost like a basic check mark now, right? Like, do you have a website? Check.
Yes.
Do you have social media? Check.
And I think it gets to the level where you're actually checking before you meet certain people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like before I go into like a meeting with lenders and all, like if I have their names, I'm like
It's an
quickly.
online resume.
Oh yes,
And you get
yes,
to know a lot about people through
yes,
seeing inside the back end of their lives, right?
yes.
So we would see that Miki's kids are the most important thing to her. And you would see Lorraine and Kim's dogs. Like, you know what's going on in your lives, right? And you can see that you do have tender hearts and what is behind the business and the reason that you made the business, because people still do business with people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm, I like that.
And-
Yeah, to
And
remind
I
you.
also think
Go ahead.
and I also think what's important is that what you put on social media doesn't have to be everything that's going on in your life. And I think that that's what you also, at least you helped me with this as well, because I mean, personally, I don't like posting things on social media. It's just not my thing. But I understand that it's something that's needed for business, and you just have a very creative and structured way of saying, okay, well, people still want to do business with people. So you kind of have to lend a little bit of your personality, but it is a fine line still. I'm
And
not
you
the
can
person
still
that's going to
have your
be
privacy. You don't have to put
right,
your home address and
exactly.
your toilet bowl on there, right?
Right.
So we're just going to be
Right.
careful about what we post and like what your backdrop is, right? So maybe if for a person, I don't know, maybe it's me. Maybe I have a stalker somewhere in Mexico. I don't know. Whatever. But I don't want people to know where I live. I don't want people to come to my house. So I would take pictures, maybe going to the supermarket or going on a close, or what are you going to buy for your office supplies?
Mhm.
But these are more generalized places. It's still an insight into what you have to do every day without giving away whatever that piece is that you feel uncomfortable with. Like for some people, it's their children. They do not want to put their children on social media, especially with all of the trafficking and everything.
Mhm.
They get nervous.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's not rightfully so, but if that's the piece, then let us know what the piece is and we can round about that piece, right? Your kids do
Right.
not have to be the focus of your business, even if they're the reason. We can talk about them sometimes without putting their beautiful little fases on there.
Yes.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. No,
I think
this
it's just about getting to know your why, and then
Mhm.
there's a level of scariness, I think, about letting everyone into everything, right? Because it's kind of like
right.
letting strangers into your house a little bit. So it could be nerve wracking, but just be careful and strategic about the way that you're planning your stuff and your content out so that you don't give away too much.
Right. I know you mentioned earlier branding. How important is branding?
I would say branding is number 2 to consistency. So you can post consistently, but if no one is recognizing it because it is a hodgepodge of stuff that really just doesn't even make sense,
Mhm.
then it's really here nor there. They're not going to remember you the next time they see you again. But if you know that your colors are your blue and silver, and for Miki, we're going to splash in some purple because that's what she likes. And then people could see Miki's things even without, she could share that into a group. And if it didn't have her logo on it, I'm pretty sure people would still know where it's coming from. So it's about familiarizing and having that be in the back of people's brains as a comfort. Right. So when you see Coca-Cola or you see Doritos or whatever it is, somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a trustworthiness and a stability there because you've seen it before and again and again and again. But when you see mom and dad's Uncle Ray's hot chips, I don't know. If you've never seen them before, you might be like, I don't know if I trust that. I'm going to go for that one because I've
Right.
seen it again and again and again. But if you don't make what they see recognizable, then it doesn't trigger. You need a file folder to put that in, right? To compartmentalize, like, oh, that is Lorraine.
Yeah.
So one thing for me, and most of the reason why I've sort of outsourced all of my social media to you and social storing is because of consistency. And I think that can be, a pain point for most business owners. I mean, and we've talked about this on some of our earlier episodes about when you're in business, like you feel like you're being pulled in a million directions. And sometimes those are the times when you need to start to identify what you need to outsource, what you need to delegate to another party. So I guess a question that I have for you is, what have you seen as being a tool that you can use to be more consistent in posting to social media? Or I believe, and maybe I might be overstepping my bounds here a little bit, but I think you're working on some things that will help people be more consistent in how they're posting to social media.
So we actually do. We have a full-fledged platform. It is now live on our website. So if you go to the social scheduler, it's there. Thank you. And it's available for purchase. All of you ladies already own it, so don't worry about it. It got rolled in. And it's an awesome tool. So basically it's a calendar, and it sets it up so that you can go in there and say, on Mondays, I'm going to post at 10:45, 10:55, and 10:57 to these different networks. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to post this. But either way, it gives you a sense of not just what are you doing, but where are you doing it to, at what times. Everything is different. So you just going out there and throwing a post out to all your networks at the same time is probably not viable for you. So like for LinkedIn, you want to post earlier. People are on there before they start their workday. And then for, your Instagram and your Facebook, you want to post at lunchtime because that's when people are playing around on their phones. So you've got to capitalize on your time. And that's another great thing about our platform is it breaks down each one of your social networks. You can see all of your analytics. You can see when people are on your pages and when they aren't. I'm sure that all of you guys saw when we first started introducing the platform, us playing with your times a little bit and your days. And that was us just checking out the consistency, because even though I can research and I can be told that posting at 11:15 is the best time for Kim, right? But I don't necessarily know that until I go in there and I post at 11:07, 11:27, and then try a Saturday and make sure that it works and check by the analytics that we know that we're still on the best target times for her. And all that's included in there. And in addition, a great feature for me, because I don't like to check tons and tons of messages, all of your messages are pushed from all of your accounts into one messenger in there. So if you wanted, it's really easy, and you can change anything about any of the looks and styles and feels of the post. So I know you guys have seen it. I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it here. We did a demo, just the four of us, right?
Yes, we did. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. And basically you can even, because you're not going to want to say the same thing on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Exactly.
And it needs to be a little different. You're hitting different people with this message, right? And you have the abilities to go in and change that, as well as geo-targeting and audience targeting right inside of there, even if it's not a paid ad. So there's definitely some awesome abilities, and it is integrated with Canva. So you could do your artwork right inside of there too. If you don't want somebody else to do it for you. In the beginning of any business, I don't care what it is, as the business owner, you're doing it all, right? Yes. When you're first figuring it out.
Yeah.
And then as you can't, those are the things you hand off. So if this is a system that helps people be able to maintain it until they can't, then go for it. And if you have any questions and you need help, we're still here for you.
I love that, Jessica, because when we started, this did not exist. Like, we had Hootsuite, and you couldn't change the content. And so whatever I was posting on Facebook, it was the exact same thing that was going on LinkedIn and on Instagram. So it didn't, and I couldn't change the hours like that. Like if I posted for Facebook, it was the same thing for LinkedIn and all. And so I can see the value of it and how practical it is to use it, and how much easier you made that. I mean, this is such a beautiful tool. I love it.
And thank you so much. And the reason that we built it, honestly, is because we've used Hootsuite and Later and Crowdfire and everything else that has not satisfied every need we had for one reason or another. Right. So it was like, how do we build a platform that satisfies everything we need and be able to do it at a price that makes sense? Because that's the other thing, is like, if you want to post more than 3 days a week to Hootsuite, even if it's to 2 networks, you're paying $50 a month.
Yes.
So, I mean, for ours, it starts at $17 a month.
Well, I mean, I just
just-
love the kind of set it and forget it aspect of it.
I think everybody does,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you're out, you're doing groceries, you're doing whatever, and you could be like, oh my God, I missed it. I swear I'm not flicking my face. There's a gnat in the house. It's right in front of me and it's driving me nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so easy to, you have to be consistent, and it's very easy to fall out of a routine, when it comes to posting on social media. So I am completely satisfied with the platform and totally happy. And you do get what you pay for, because I know, when we first started, we all had virtual assistants who were posting on our social media, and it was kind of a hodgepodge. And we saw that, and we recognized it, and we knew that we needed a change.
Well, and even for us, I mean, just to put a full disclosure and be like honest about everything, I have used virtual assistants from other countries in the past before, and the training wasn't worth it. So everyone is domestic now. And to be very honest about what I'm looking for, we do have several men, but it's really about people being able to work from home and still support their families and feel as if they are a contributing member to their household and they're bringing something to the table, right? They're doing good in the world for someone. And they're able to do it from home and make a little bit of money. So a lot of our content creators are stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads that I picked up from the Coast Guard, maybe. Might have piggybacked. I definitely like that Coast Guard mentality. They work very, very diligently. But yeah, everyone's domestic, and it's for the same reason, because a lot of times you can say something, and if it's not in the same native language, they can hear something very different from what you intended. And especially late at night when the time zones don't add up, all of that frustration and stress can end up being, let's do it later. And then it just never gets done. So for me, it was just a lot easier to work with people that understood me a little bit better and were home at the same time as me.
Yeah.
I mean, Jessica, you're saving time and creating opportunities. I mean, what's better than that?
Yes.
And the fact that you built this from scratch, like you saw what was out there and said, okay, no, I can definitely do something better. And I don't know if that goes back to it's a bit different than your economics background, but I'm sure some of that knowledge helped to, create this brainchild that you're
think
now.
My economics background is definitely, it helps me be the nerd that I am. So there's probably not like a lot of people that are like, I like to do second derivatives in my head. I do, because I'm crazy. But that's like not a normal thing, right? So however, when you're working with analytics and numbers, to be able to break that stuff down and understand it from jump, like, no, I'm not in there creating y'all's content on a daily basis, but I'm still very involved in all of your accounts. And I'm just doing stuff now that is more my style, right? So I do get to apply my more analytical mindset to what I like to do.
I love that. And for us on the other side, the receiver, it's just so much value all the time that you're putting in it and that your team is doing. And I can't tell you how grateful I am, because we all go on vacation, right? And you're on vacation and you're away from your phone, and that things are going out. It's like it's like magic for me, for coming from a place where I used to post whatever. It's just wonderful.
Well, and to like you just said, post whatever. And I think that that's what a lot of people do. They don't have this is what we're going to talk about this month because these are my monthly goals. And the truth is that whatever you're talking about on your website should line up with what you're talking about on your social media, because those are your monthly goals, and you want them all to correlate to be able to give you the best benefits instead of posting whatever. And that is there's so many small business owners that are posting whatever because they don't have the sense of sitting down a month in advance to say, this is the chart. This is the flow. This is the ebb of the way that things are going to go, so that we don't bore people. We stay consistent, but again, not boring. Consistency does not mean that you post the exact same thing at the exact same time every day. That's not what consistency is. It means that you are present, that you are involving and engaging and talking to people every day, that somebody is physically logging into your Instagrams and liking other people's posts and interacting with the people in your neighborhood, because that's how they're going to interact back with you.
So Jessica, if anybody that's listening wants to get in touch with you or find out more about your services, how can they do that?
You can schedule a complimentary consultation at socialsoaring.com. So there's a big schedule a complimentary consultation button, and then you'll get stuck with me for about an hour, unless I talk too much, and then it'll be an hour.
That ain't so bad.
And typically you get a dose of Sarah too. So she's definitely become my partner in crime over the past 8-9 months. And I very much so value being able to have JP to look up to and Sarah to count on. And it's like, you have a winning team, right? You know that your guidance is in the right place and the motivator. Because I will tell you that in the beginning of getting ready to jump, and making, you make good money as a restaurant manager. So making $60,000, $70,000 a year and being like, no, I'm going to go home now and I'm not going to make anything. And we're going to see how this works. That is so scary.
It is.
But until you jump, you could be stuck in this miserable place for just so long. And once you jump, the only person that's going to catch you is you. So the good news is that you learn that you can depend on yourself.
Yeah.
And you really can.
I'll mention really quick, we have a couple people who are watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. And we did get one comment from Carol Sandstrom, and she said, it takes a lot of guts to do what you do, because following your heart isn't easy. So I just wanted to say thank you to Carol for listening. And then just to also mention, she has a couple comments here, but that one definitely applies to what you were just speaking about. So, yeah.
Yeah, so true.
And that's the reason for this podcast. This podcast is here to, to open the eyes to other people, other women, other entrepreneurs, and show them what's out there.
And if anybody can walk away with anything today, I would say, as scary as fear is only holding you back from the success and flourishing that you can get to in life. So fear is like a boogeyman. You're putting that on yourself. Who told you that you can't go work 6 part-time jobs? No one. No one told you that while you're making it work, right? So you have your dream and you keep working and you keep doing it. And sometimes we get stepped on and you have to get back up again, right? Doesn't everybody get hurt in business? Doesn't everybody get told you stink sometimes, or that was ugly, or
the nature of the game?
And the people who are saying that doesn't happen, those aren't the people who are really in business, because those are the trials and tribulations that you go through. So.
And you know what? All you can do is, if you care enough to listen to those comments and say, I'm going to do better next time because I'm not going to make those same mistakes. How do I learn from that? So even taking the negative criticism and turning it into a positive thing for you and your company. There's not everyone that loves everything that I've ever done. I mean, when I first started, oh my gosh, my shot, it was so blocky. It was so blocky. And looking back on it now, it's like, I never would have made that, right? But you don't know until you learn, and you have to, as an entrepreneur, again, it's like, put down all of your own pride, put down all of the stuff that gets in your way, because that's you, that's self-imposed, those fears. It really is. And I mean, I know that it is scary to say, like, I'm going to get out there, and if I have to waitress 4 nights a week, that's fine because this is my gig. But you got to make it work. There are medical data entry jobs online. Like, I was willing to do whatever, affiliate marketing, whatever I had to do in order to make. And I will say, when JP first hired me, he asked me one question. He said, how many hours a week are you willing to work? And I said, 100. And he said, no, like, be serious. And I was like, 100
no, I
hours.
am serious.
I am serious. And I proved myself. I'm telling you, I probably do easily work over 100 hours every week. But it's when I want to work it, and it's at my leisure. I mean, obviously you have meetings, you have responsibilities, be an adult, show up to your stuff. But there are pros and cons, and you just have to be willing to work for your dream. And I do. I remember he was like, no, come on, be serious. And I was like, 100 hours. I've worked 70 hours a week at a job I hate at Longhorn, scrubbing toilets and, picking out moldy stuff. Like, I will work 100 hours a week
For
from home.
myself,
Yes, I
yeah.
will. Yes, I will.
Well, this is why JP just called you a powerhouse in the comments, because of that
yes.
100 hours a week that you were willing to put in, or that you continue to put towards your company. So yeah, that's true. You're a powerhouse.
I'm going to tell you, I bet you all of you do too, between your day jobs and, and it's just about strategizing and organizing your day and able to make the most out of it. Because I do think that that's one of the hardest things for people that work from home, is to stay self-motivated and say, at 6 a.m. I'm getting up, at 6:15 I'm having breakfast, at 7 o'clock I am out, I've exercised, at 8 o'clock I've got my first meeting.
Yeah. That sounds about like my schedule. Yeah.
So if anybody out there is looking for social media management, definitely check out Social Soaring. Hit up Jessica Luna, because she is amazing at what she does, and she's built an incredible team.
Well, I'm so thankful that you all are my dear friends as well as clients, but also for having me on today. So thanks everybody for listening to me drone.
No, not a drone at all. Thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing all of that information.
And be sure to check out our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page. It's called The Real Estate View. So go ahead over there, check that out, like and follow. And you can also catch replays on YouTube.
Share it.
Our YouTube channel.
Share it. Yeah.
And we are here every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
So until next week, know your why.
Know your heart.
And know your purpose. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thank you, Jessica.
Bye.
Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you.
Bye.